Hello everyone, I'm Glenn, I'm joined by Apathy Duck.
Hello.
And this is going to be azder running low percent no major glitches, A Link to the Past. So there's a couple notable changes in this run compared to any percent, which is we're going to skip a few items. So we're going to be skipping the boomerang, the tempered sword, and most notably all the heart containers, which means the entire game will be played with 3 hearts, which means it'll get really difficult towards the end, and there'll be some neat strats and such to account for that. No silver arrows. Complete the whole game without that.
Yeah, it's a pretty dangerous run. No one's actually completed a deathless run of this yet, so probably going to see at least one death in this.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a challenge type of run.
It's worth noting that skipping the heart containers requires making use of a glitch that was discovered earlier this year. So in the case that azder does fail or make an error with these glitches, he will have to reset and redo the segment to successfully skip the heart so he can finish with 3. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but
yeah, I think he's doing the single pod dip, so the tough one.
Oh, he is? That's difficult.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see when he gets there. But yeah, this is officially the low percent category for anyone who's wondering. Before this glitch, basically it was the same as NMG. We just skipped temper sword, sync heart, and boomerang. When this glitch was discovered, we decided to make this officially low percent, and because the other category still had so many people run it, that's now called low percent legacy, and some people still run that as well. But this is officially low percent. It's not like a different category or anything. And we're off. Everyone's favorite A Link to the Past segment, escape. So since escape, nothing much happens. I just want to talk briefly about the different ways you can delete. There's gonna be a couple different ways that he does it. Early on,
3 or 4 different ways, depending on whether he does single dip pod.
Yeah, early on, basically all we have access is to the bow, bombs, and lamp, and we can use that to delete all the light world hearts.
Well, Moldorm works differently, but
yeah, Moldorm's a little weird. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so the basic premise to skipping a heart is that there are objects in the game that are called ancillae, and those are used for various things, including all of the objects that Link spawns with his items, so like arrows, the lamp flame, and bombs and such. Those are all ancillae. And what's relevant to the heart skipping glitch is the first 5 ancillae slots, 0 to 4. And the basic premise is that we want to fill up all 5 of those with random ancillae, so that the ancilla that spawns when you pick up the heart container that is in charge of actually increasing your maximum hearts is incapable of spawning. And that allows you to pick up the heart container and still mark that the boss is dead and give you the boss prize, but without actually increasing your maximum health. So there are a few different setups that we can use to accomplish that.
Yeah, once we get to Dark World, there's a much easier setup once you get the Cane of Samaria. So we actually, in this route, get that much earlier than you would anyways, mostly because your hearts aren't going to increase over the run, so there's no reason not to go to Mire as soon as possible, just to make your life easier.
The normal any percent route is after Thieves' Town you do Skullwoods, then Ice Palace, then Swamp Palace, and then Misery Mire. But in this we're going to do Misery Mire directly after Thieves' Town. So he didn't get that chest there. Shed the boomerang.
That actually has one other effect much later in the run. We need 500 rupees for for flippers. Normally at NMG there's a hut in Village of Outcasts that we get 300 rupees from, but because we don't pick up that boomerang there, it actually has the red boomerang. So Azder's going to be getting, I talked to him before the race, he's actually going to go to a slightly different location than normal. He's going to go to back at Escape for his money.
Yeah.
There's also bombs and arrows there, which, because you need bombs and arrows for the glitch, it really helps out the arrow routing. So it's a little bit of a safe route he's doing. He's also going to be doing safe.
The optimal route is to do tree pulls, 2 tree pulls instead of 1 that you would do in any percent, and hope for some good rupee drops. But for marathon run, it's better to go with the safest option, which is the back of Escape.
And like I said, he will be saving quitting this just to, again, for marathon reasons. Normally save and quit wouldn't be allowed, but again, for marathon reasons, for a little bit of safety, he's going to be doing that.
How much of Meyer can one-shot Green Mail and 3 hearts, the Bomb Slugs, and Vitreous? And technically the Floating Skulls, but I don't think anybody has ever gotten hit by those in the speedrun, ever.
You know I'm going to get hit by him later now, right?
And I guess the laser eyes on the way to Samaria, but again, like, who gets hit by that in NMG?
Yeah. So if you ever, there's also a category before this, Oko, the one-hit knockout that people would run on a hack ROM that would just automatically kill Link. A lot of the strats are going to be similar to that, and we're just going to play similar to that. The one nice thing about this is because it's not actually completely one-hit knockout, is we don't have to do some of the very, very safe things. Like, we can still bomb jump in here.
Vitreous, we can still do, like, a couple damage boosts in the slime.
Yeah, you can get 2 off if you come in full health, which really helps. So it's a little bit of a mix between, it's kind of like halfway between the old 12 heart low percent and Oko. So there's a couple things that you can no longer do that you used to be able to do with more hearts, and then but there's some completely safe things that you don't have to worry about in this route.
Seems to be on good escape pace.
Yeah, this is actually a really good escape.
I guess he skipped Boomerang, so he's gonna lose a little bit of time on Key Rat here.
Yeah.
So it looks a little bit better before.
I think if you get an optimal Key Rat close to what he got, you can actually have a faster escape without the Boomerang.
Yeah. Or if you get like Northwest, it doesn't really matter either way. But that's bad. It's equally bad.
Yeah, 53 escape's pretty good.
Yeah. It's good that he didn't really take any damage, because he obviously can't get the Snake Heart to refill.
Well, I think he's gonna save and quit here, so.
That's true.
Yeah,
He's doing saves in case he has to reset, like I mentioned earlier. Even though normally this category is not played without save and quit.
I don't think we mentioned, but azder is actually the current world record holder in this route. With
he has a 133 or 34.
I think it's a 133, and then Dow is only about 20 seconds behind him.
Yeah.
Basically, the only difference is they both took, I think, 1 death. Azder died in Chomps, which isn't too bad, and Dow died like in GT, which is
very bad.
Slightly worse. Yeah.
Depending where. Low percent rules are bare minimum items, so versus any percent, skipping Boomerang, Tempered Sword, and all heart containers.
Yeah, in the normal NMG run of this, we pretty much only get the items we need to beat the game. The only 2 are, again, Tempered Sword and Boomerang.
Yep. And the hearts, but it's slower to skip the hearts than to get them. in this game.
That's why I wanted to call this barbecue percent, because it's lower and slower.
Haha. Alright. So you're doing a little trick here. Kill only 2 of the south hosts instead of all 4. Pretty standard stuff. Yeah, there's nothing too interesting in this dungeon besides that south host room and the damage boost for the big key.
Yeah, this dungeon's gonna be pretty much the same as normal.
In NMG, or any percent, if you get Sand Card, you have 4 hearts, but it's really not any more difficult with 3. Major glitches, any percent record is 1 minute 31 seconds, but that's also a meme category. A little damage boost to get the big key faster. So he's gonna go pick up the bow here, and then the back half of the dungeon will be a number of combat rooms.
Yeah, Lucius. Fricker actually ran that earlier in this marathon. The record is for all major dungeons for restricted major glitches is 110.53, I think.
Yeah, 53. No, it's not randomized actually. It's the vanilla game. So, Zelda Gamer Room here. He got good RNG. This room can be really, really frustrating if you get bad RNG. So you can pick up arrows here. The setup to skip the heart container after Armos requires using 6 arrows, so you want to be going into the fight with 30, especially because you then need arrows for the next boss, Landmola's, and another 6 arrows to skip that heart container. So you really need to have as many arrows as you can get here. So he does 3 lamps, 6 arrows in the wall, and then puts 2 more lamp flames on screen. That prevents the heart and slow it from spawning.
Yeah, that's very nicely done.
Now he doesn't have 4 hearts.
Yeah, part of the challenge of this category is, especially though, until you get the cane, skipping the hearts is not easy. So you can fail your run just by accidentally picking up.
It's not too difficult, but you have to do 4 or 5 skips before you get the cane, depending on your routing, and it's likely that you will mess up one of them.
Yeah, it's
not always the same one, but
besides the fact that you only have 3 hearts and things can kill you, it just adds basically 4 more reset points into the game that you have to deal with. So just completing a run of this is really a challenge.
Mm-hmm. And also, even later when you use the cane setup to skip, which is free, you still need to remember to menu to the cane before killing the boss, or else you won't be able to menu. And you need to have magic left over to use it. And even then, the setup requires hitting a cane dash, and optimally, you'll often allow yourself only 1 cane use, and if you miss the cane dash, then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, who's ever missed 2 buttons at the same time?
Oh, nobody ever. He's doing pretty standard save and quit NMG route here. Getting the book.
The glitches should all work on the virtual console ones. The GBA is a completely different game, basically, so I'm not very familiar with it.
VC should work, but it's probably 1.1 or 1.2, so a lot of the glitches aren't in it.
I think the mislotting works on all.
Yeah, misslotting is not patched even remotely.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
really
we
only
only
minor
discovered
glitches
it.
they patched. Because a
Yeah,
lot of the
we only
major
discovered
glitches
it
are
this
like,
year, much less them discovering it 20 years ago to patch it.
yeah.
A lot of the really broken stuff on this game works in any version.
Hmm.
So it's more of the some of the minor glitches that got patched out from the 1.0.
The notable major glitch they never patched out, even though they very easily could have, is EG. Alright, so entering Desert Palace. This dungeon has a lot of really wide open rooms you can dash through, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, this game is pretty good about giving you an item and then kind of giving you the training area for it. So they just gave you the boots that you needed to get the book to get in here, and then it gives you this wide open dungeon for you to use the boots
Yeah,
with.
not a terribly difficult dungeon. Mostly about knowing where to dash. Not really much danger of getting hit by enemies. Giving us some nice book spam for RNG manipulation later. Except not actually. Maybe manip that room with the book. No, he didn't. Don't listen to me, I'm just saying stupid things.
Yeah, just to comment what's being talked about in chat. This the discovery of all this in solo stuff really led us to kind of re-examine our glitch categories and how we define glitches. Before the
Even
like what we now call restricted major glitches, used to have this alphabet soup of no EG
which
slash WW slash, and we just had to keep
which
adding on to it.
NMG used to have before it became NMG. Even
Yeah, no,
so,
no
like at
saving.
some point we had enough glitches to rename to classify to minor and major, and now we have enough glitches to put in a third classification.
Yeah, this game is super broken. Like people have mentioned, you can just walk straight to the end. That's why our major glitch, any percent, isn't really interesting at all. So usually we tack on extra goals that you have to do with glitch sets to
Yeah.
make the run actually interesting.
I think NMG used to be like no EG, no out of bounds, no IBA or something stupid like that. Alright, I think he's probably gonna grab extra
Yeah,
arrows
he
here.
definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. And to land molas. This, in any percent, this is one of the hardest bosses in the run, but I would not say it's one of the hardest bosses in this run, just because of how difficult 3 hearts makes some of the later bosses. But it's still
Yeah,
very difficult. You want to hit them with arrows. It's the fastest way to kill them. 4 arrows each kills them. But because they're flying and their like trajectory and flight length is random, it can be really hard to predict where they're going to be. Let alone trying to actually hit them with the arrows that move kind of slowly.
yeah, and Azder's using more sword slashes here than he probably would normally because, again, arrows are so valuable in this run. Not only because they're needed for the heart deletion, but a lot of the low strats themselves require more arrows than you would normally use.
Yeah. So same setup as before. 3 lamps, 6 arrows in the wall, and then 2 lamps walking the heart. So luckily he doesn't have to redo this dungeon. So he gets the blue pendant, which is actually the pendant of power in this game, because that's how they named them at first.
So this is
I think here he's going to go to back of escape.
Yeah, this normally wouldn't be done, mostly because you would never kind of get over into this area with the gloves. But with the save and quit, this becomes a pretty good option to get
Yeah.
a bunch of equipment he needs for the run, as well as the rupees.
So after this, he's going to be heading up to Death Mountain. Death Mountain is already like really dangerous in this game, but again, 3 hearts makes everything worse. So
yeah, I mainly get Saint Heart still just for Death Mountain.
yeah.
You'll have 6 hearts there with it, and he's gonna do it with 3.
Death Mountain is just a horrible mess of RNG and things that do 1 heart of damage each.
Wolfman, so most category, like most NMG categories, disallow save and quit. Most, like Ham said, for historic precedence, all the major glitch categories tend to allow them because we do horrible things to this game, and some way, the only way out of them is a save and quit. So generally, the major glitches will allow save and quit. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in bad graphical situations or stuff like that.
I think most people just prefer no save and quit for NMG because it like the run flows together nicely when you just play it out all in one go.
Yeah, I think azder might be a little foreshadowing here.
Oh, see, this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Get these dead rocks. You can't kill them.
Oh.
If you hit them, they freeze in place for 8 seconds, and that might be directly in your path, and then you just have to wait 8 seconds.
Yeah, and that spin speed off the... We're going to be getting a spin speed off this ladder
This
here.
is actually the first time he's using spin speed in this run.
That is... I think... Oh no, because he saved and quit after ladder. Yeah, this would be the first time with spin speed.
So he's doing this trick called spin speed. With the boots, you release the spin and press A 1 frame after releasing it. And that puts you into a glitch state where the game thinks that Link is dashing, but he's not actually. Like the flag that says he's dashing is set. And so if you then step off those stairs that make you move slowly and the game resets your speed, it resets you to dashing speed.
And once we even get into Hera, it's not like we're past the RNG of things can just hit you. There's stuff in here that'll just hit you.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone's favorite Moldorms, mini Moldorms, and Moldorm himself.
Yep. And the Moldorm heart skip setup is notorious for not being totally consistent, so there's a chance you might mess it up, but hopefully not.
Yeah, and azder did confirm to me that if he does accidentally pick up a heart, he's going to reset.
So we got the best room in the game right here, where you wait, and that's it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of tile rooms in this game. This is the only one that forces us to sit through it. There's actually 2 in desert, but we go through them so fast that people sometimes forget there's tiles in there.
Yeah, there's one in Mire too, which you're not even really aware of watching speedruns.
Yeah.
A little optimization there, hit the last one quickly, open the door faster.
Yeah, there's another time room in GT, but in NMG we don't even go that direction, so we don't even see it.
No, you can't grab pieces of heart. Any piece of heart you get is considered percent, even if it doesn't give you a full container. And besides, like in this game, you don't get a health refill unless you get all 4. So
really,
there wouldn't even be any point to it.
The only one you could really conceivably pick up is the one on Spectacle Rock if you mirrored in a 2 look far down. All the other ones are quite far out of the way.
You do a bomb jump here to get to the Moon Pearl faster, instead of going upstairs and falling down.
Yeah, so this is like one difference between running this and Elko is we can still do the bomb jumps because it's just 1 harder damage.
He skipped the bomb pod there, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, he did.
I guess you get a lot in pod, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well he has...
Oh, no, it's because you need to have exactly 2 to skip Blank's heart.
Okay.
So he's not picking up extra bombs because he needs to have exactly 2 later.
Right. We can't do the arrow version here because
There's
notable lack of walls around Moldor.
Well, and also you're not able to menu in this room. For some reason, you can menu in Armos and Landmo's room only. So in this setup, he will have exactly 2 bombs. Oh, you need exactly 2 bombs for this one as well.
Yeah,
This setup works a little bit differently. He's going to place 2 bombs to fill slots 0 and 1, and 3 lamp flames to fill the other 3 slots. Then, for some reason that I don't totally understand, when you do the setup like that, it makes the prize not drop, so he has to fall down and reload the room. I think it's because the bombs are still there. It also prevents the prize, which is another Ancilla, from spawning.
I'm just going to fall back to our default explanation for this game, which is game is weird, man.
Yep. Said once by a very wise man. Alright, now he's got all 3 pendants, and he's going to be getting the Master Sword here. Just the final sword upgrade we'll get in this run. So normally in any percent we'd get the Tempered Sword after Thieves Town, which is the second dungeon we do in the Dark World. So every dungeon that's after that point becomes much more difficult in this run compared to any percent, especially the bosses.
Yeah, a lot of the NMG strats rely on the Tempered Sword, so it's really once you hit Skull Woods that the low percent of really kicks in.
As a general rule of thumb, each sword upgrade doubles damage. That's not true for every enemy, but in general it is. So by skipping Tempered Sword, we're going to be doing half damage from that point onwards, basically. Now, half magic is percentage. It's a collectible, so you can't get it in low percent. Yeah, so how the game works is when you pick up the heart container object after a boss, it sets the flag in that room that says the boss is defeated. So you absolutely need to pick up that object to progress the game. That's why we have to use these glitches to prevent it from actually giving us the heart container, despite picking the object up. I mean, people still run Legacy low percent. It's just like, if you don't like this run, then you just run Legacy. But there weren't a lot of people who ran low percent anyway.
Yeah, because it's very similar. It's just a downgrade in damage from NMG.
It's basically just like any percent except the bosses are harder and you don't have a boomerang.
Yeah.
That's what the Legacy is. And
not dying in NMG is enough of a challenge, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I died to Helma last night.
I died to Cold and Vitreous last night.
NMG stands for no major glitches. So, more or less intended gameplay with a few smaller exploits. So I haven't really talked about Aga Tower at all yet, but this is actually one of the more fun dungeons in the run, even though people who play Rando hate it. But it's just a very long linear dungeon with lots of combat rooms.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mini Ganon's Tower, where it's really not a lot of puzzles, and it's just kind of like testing your skills early on.
Mm-hmm. I missed if he did the fairy preservation thing. It's not really that relevant in this run.
Yeah, it's anything in Turtle Rock is just going to straight up kill you.
Yeah.
I suppose it would at least save you from if you got dead rocked on Turtle Rock. You could get back to beams, and the beams are somewhat useful in Turtle Rock. Which having, again, I mentioned Oko a couple times. Another difference is you're pretty much always gonna have beams in this because if you save and quit or you die, it will. Normally the game will like take your full amount of hearts and reduce it a bit. But if you only have 3, roughly. It's 2/3. Yeah. If you only have 3, it gives you 3. So anytime he dies or save and quits, he'll have beams. So he has that to rely on.
Yeah. Normally, there's a trick we do at the start of this dungeon to preserve a prize pack position so we can get a fairy drop in Turtle Rock, but it's not that relevant in this category.
Yeah, I think he did do it because I just didn't make a note of that room at all.
So this is the worst boss in the game, Aghanim. He attacks in cycles of 1 reflectable ball, 3 random reflectable or not reflectable, and then a lightning. And for every non-reflectable ball you lose 6 seconds. And the third one and every 4th one after that, you lose an additional 6 seconds. For absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, this boss is really like...
It's getting really bad luck here.
You get here and just like, do you have a chance of PBing after this boss?
Yeah. The most likely number to get is 3. I think he's gotten 4 so far. So he's gotten pretty bad luck. Oh no, he got 3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. So, pretty typical.
Yeah, getting under 3 is good luck, and it saves you 12 seconds. So, it's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as he's going to save and quit, and he's just going to come right back to the pyramid.
Yeah.
Just for safety. In case, I believe he's just doing pod in 1 single dip. Yeah. And what that means, the deletion we do in this dungeon actually requires beams to do. Which means, even though Helma won't kill you in 1 hit, he will remove your beams, which means you can no longer delete the heart.
Yeah. Makes it's a very, very scary strat to do this in 1 go.
Yeah. The safe thing to do is just dip pod, get the hammer, leave, and then come back with the cane after Meyer.
To do the easier skip setup.
Do the easier skip.
So, I don't know if anyone is wondering this, but a common misconception people have with this game, based on being familiar with Ocarina of Time and later Zelda games, is that save and quit does not keep you in a dungeon when you reload. So that's why he's saving there and not like in the dungeon.
Yeah, after a save and quit, the only 4 places you can go to is Link's House, Sanctuary, or Death Mountain in the Light World. And then after you get Dark World access, if you save and quit in Dark World, it always puts you on Pyramid.
Yeah. And also, you only have the option to save and quit. You can't just save whenever you want, which is a bit of a weird design choice, but it's the way it is. You do get to save if you die, but I don't think he wants to die. So, Palace of Darkness has a lot of keys in it. So we're going to be grabbing a few keys here, and then the big key. And there's going to be a fairly big trick in this dungeon called Hammer Jump, which is a doubly pixel perfect bomb jump on a falling bridge. And it saves about 40-something seconds.
Yeah, it's like 45 seconds, as opposed to
like
it skips us having to go to the back, get the key that's intended. We can just hop right to the the ledge where the hammer is.
Yeah.
And Azure took a heart of damage from a bomb earlier, and then he's going to take another one from the hammer jump, but he's still fine in this situation.
Yeah, there are 3 heart pots in this dungeon before you go to Helmosaur, so you're fine no matter what. It's very convenient that they're there.
Yeah, helps out in a lot of categories. In NMG, we actually usually pick up one after hammer jump there, because there's a couple of beam strats we can do that are faster. A lot of other categories, you get those hearts just because it's safer. Or in this one, it's required because you have to be at full hearts to finish this dungeon.
So after you pick up this last key here, you'll now be heading towards Helmosaur. And this is where what we were mentioning before is very important. He needs to not take any damage here at all, or he won't be able to skip the heart and he'll have to mirror out and try again.
Yeah, the heart pots that we were just talking about, that we'll see here in a second, are the last hearts you can pick up in this dungeon.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 3 hearts, but it's effectively Oko because we need to maintain the beams. So, for all intents and purposes, he is 1 heart from this point on out.
Because you cannot menu after beating Helmosaur. The game prevents you from menuing, which forces us to use a beam as one of the ancillary. Sword beam. So he's doing 3 lamps there. That's part of the subtlety to the trick. I don't really want to explain it because I don't know if I'll explain it correctly.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, just the lamp is used in a lot of the setups, and like the direction that you lamp matters as well.
Well, for hook pushing or slotting and
for
stuff, yeah. For this, it kind of just matters that you use it.
I'm gonna go back to game is weird.
Yeah, my best understanding is it has to do with the Ancilla search index, which is a value that indicates it. When it looks for Ancilla, it can overwrite to spawn another Ancilla. It starts from that index and starts counting down. The first one it tries is the one lower than the number that it is. So you want it to be 0 when you do this, so that it doesn't look at any slots, doesn't overwrite any slot. He's doing, safe strats there with spins. You can use the hammer in the second phase. It's very, very dangerous in this category because you can't get hit at all. It's very easy to take a hit doing that. Alright, he did it. So in the setups we saw at first, where he did 3 lamps and then 6 arrows, he did basically the same thing here, except he did the lamps before entering the room. But they served the same purpose.
Yeah, that was a very well done fight. Just with a couple things he did in there. If you notice, he before he broke the mask, he paused for a bit. What he was looking for there is if the fireball spawns and you break the mask while it's happening, the fireballs will despawn. He didn't get the fireball pattern, and he noticed that he was going into the tail whip pattern, so he just went ahead and broke it.
Yeah.
And then he used a couple pause buffers in there as well to control his movement to make sure he didn't get hit at all. It's a very well done fight.
Yeah, this is not a modified ROM. This is the normal game. It's abusing a glitch. Alright, so he's going to do a save and quit to Pyramid here. And next he's going to head to Thieves Town. Since before we can get to Misery Mire, we need to get the Titan's Mitt. And due to the cane making the hard setup earlier, we are doing it as early as we can.
Yeah, we need Titan's Mitt and we need Flute to get the Misery Mire. So we'll be getting both of those in this section.
It was discovered earlier this year in the summer, early summer, I think, like June-ish. Hammer dashing is a 1.0 exclusive glitch. All item dashing is if you press Y and A on the same frame, you both dash and use the item at the same time.
With varying levels
It
of usefulness.
does different things based on the item. Hammer is probably the most useful one.
Yeah,
Hookshot's useful too, since it gives you super speed.
Yeah, hammer and hook
And
are the two main
cane
ones.
dashing is useful too in this run that he's doing, because he'll be making use of that to skip a lot of hearts.
Yeah, there's a couple other like subtle times we use it, like because you can basically start up your dash while using the item, which saves a couple
Yeah.
frames. So like you can
Like
fire up dashes,
in
lamp
the
dashes.
Force Swamp, do a mirror dash.
Yeah, mirror dash there.
Shovel dash digs in a straight line, but only the final dig actually counts as a dig. I don't think you dig up random items in this game like you do in Rando. I'm pretty sure that was specifically added to Rando.
Yeah, I think so too. Which makes the shovel pretty useless in this game. Besides, well, yeah, you only
can shovel dash in the digging game, but it doesn't do anything. I don't even think it increases. Like it doesn't even increase the counter. Because if it did, we would be doing it.
Yeah, that was... Just dig up that entire Mansfield.
Yeah.
So, Thief Zone is usually a fairly consistent dungeon. There is stuff in this dungeon that just decides it wants to hit you, and it'll hit you.
Hellway is particularly dangerous with 3 hearts.
Yeah, so, hopefully we get through this okay.
This is also similar to Egg Tower in a way. It's a very linear dungeon, and there's a lot of enemies. But it's done pretty much the same in every category, so if you run the game a lot, you should be familiar with this dungeon.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point of the run where a lot of our strats are going to start diverging a lot more for NMG. Just because getting hit is so dangerous. There's a lot more like just reacting to things in this than just, oh, I'm going to do this in this room, and if I get bad RNG, so be it. Because we can't really afford the hits at all.
So this is Hellway. He gets the God Pixel. That's really good.
Got the God Pixel and no
That
lags.
is like the absolute best that room can go. And it is very, very, very far removed from the absolute worst that room can go. Which is that you literally die.
Yeah, absolute worst is you start at the beginning of the dungeon.
Even in any percent when you have like 8 hearts, you can still die.
Yeah, that room's rough because we're trying to hit 1 pixel to dash up, and then even if you get it, the room can just take it away from you.
Yeah, because those the puff enemies, Gibos, if one of them is in the way, you can't dash through the main body of those, only the small part. So if it's in the way, you can't dash, even if you have the God Pixel. Also, the Fire Snake can sometimes get in front of you on the God Pixel.
Yeah, and if something does get in the way of you, generally it's 3 things get in the way of you, and it just becomes a nightmare.
Yeah. So you had a bit of a good presence of mind there, trying to hit away the red guy, because if that red guy is like directly in line with the doors facing up, he'll shoot fireballs at you as you try to walk out. And he would kill you pretty quickly with 3 hearts.
The God Pixel is a pixel in Hellway that if you get it, you can dash all the way up through the hellway without getting hit by anything, assuming the RNG cooperates.
So hopefully he remembers to use up some bombs here, because he needs to have 2. Or maybe he's doing the helmet setup again. I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. This is more optimal, but it's harder. So blind is casually one of the hardest bosses, but it has no RNG to it at all. So we know exactly how to fight him.
Yeah, it's a completely scripted fight.
It's very chaotic if you don't know what's going on, but he's already dead. Alright, he gets it.
Nice.
This is the more optimal skip. You can do a less optimal and it's easier, which is the same setup that was used on Moldorm. 2 bombs and 3 lamps. That setup prevents the crystal from spawning, so you have to do either like the LSD or dark blind glitch, which keeps the door open. And then you'd have to walk out and go back in, so it's slower to do that.
So at this point, there's a couple different routes that you could do. I know some people go and just get the fire rod right now.
I'm pretty sure I timed that to be a little bit slower.
Did that actually come out to be slower? There was a bunch.
I think it was like a couple seconds slower.
But Azder's gonna be going straight to Meyer right here for his cane, because we said before.
At this point in NMG, we would be doing the Smith's side quest, getting the tempered sword. But obviously we're not doing that in low percent. He's gonna pick up this money which he needs for flippers later, and he's gonna head out. He's gonna first go get ether, and then
Oh, okay, that's why
he should have saved and quit to the mountain.
No, Food will still be faster.
Yeah, but he's doing safety saves.
I think he's gonna save after ether, is what's gonna happen.
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Especially
so yeah, this is why Death Mountain sucks.
He might get a free save and quit right here. Quote unquote free.
He's picking up parts, even though
maybe
he's not gonna save after Kane.
Yeah, maybe
because it's easy enough.
Yeah, could be.
But I don't know. He could still mess it up. I guess like Meyer's not really a risk because you can have like half your magic or something left over for Viddy. So you have multiple tries.
That menu, man. Oof.
He's spooky with it. Yeah, he's setting up for spooky. So if you have Fire Rod first, you could do the spooky action glitch that we do in any percent. But it's kind of slow to go into Skullwoods halfway and then come back. So it's not even worth the 11 seconds it saves.
Once you learn spooky, it's impossible not to pick up that rock from the bottom.
Well, and especially since spooky setup uses all of your magic.
That's true.
And you need magic to skip the heart afterwards, so you'd have to pick up the full magic beforehand.
Well, no, the spooky setup, you'd have exactly one key.
Well, assuming you don't mess it up, I guess.
Yeah, assuming there's no mess-ups.
So here's another route change from any percent. In any percent, we get the key in the chest that's on the spikes. We can't do that here because you take a minimum of 3 hearts of damage from the spikes to get it.
I thought getting the key on top of the grate was what was done if you don't want to do the spike damage. Oh, he's not even...
I think the newer route is to do the bridge key and then you get the pot key on the way through.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you can do the grate. I'm not sure how the times compare.
I just remember when I was starting that was recommended as the beginner strat to not take a bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the normal key we get takes 3 hearts to get, which is all of our hearts. So
He's gonna skip this magic because he just doesn't need it. He's using a lamp here. See, I just like doing this with lamp. It's cool, even though it's kind of slow.
the dungeon order is pod 1. Yeah, so 1, 4, 6. There's go back to Skullwoods, which is 3. And then because of save and quit, he's actually going to switch Swamp and Ice Palace to 2, 5, and 7. That's a really bizarre order.
Yeah. He's 2 hearts. He'll probably pick up the 1 in the pot on the way to Vitreous before the big key door. Here he just really doesn't want to be taking damage is the main thing.
Yeah, he should get the heart right before the...
Like, that was a bit of a slow way to do the lobby, but he just really doesn't want to take damage from anything. Whereas in like any percent you have like 12 hearts here or something, it doesn't really matter if you take 1.
Yeah, and because we're coming here early, we don't have the hook shot to go through that room, so just using the boots to dash up.
So normally we would get the key on the spikes there, but...
And he should be getting his heart here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that heart can actually despawn if that wizard gets his shot off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to be relatively fast there to kill him.
Or, you know, make sure he's gone. Either way.
See if he sets up for spooky, even though he doesn't. No, he didn't. Okay. I always dash there no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
it's in my head. Like, I can't not do it.
Yeah, so we do Maya earlier because the cane makes skipping hearts like very, very easy compared to the other setups. And also, since we have 3 hearts for the whole run, it doesn't really matter when we do Maya. It's not going to be any easier or harder at any point in the run.
Having more hearts in this dungeon actually makes it faster, even because of the damage boosting on Viddy and some of the damage boosts we do in here.
Yeah.
So that's why it's delayed so much in NMG. But here, again, none of that matters, so we might as well just do it now.
Yeah. Like, in any percent, you could do it after Skull, and you wouldn't really lose any time on the routing, but... Oh, he took damage there, which is bad, because it's gonna allow him 1 fewer damage boost here. If he even goes for any, he might not.
I think he might not just go for any.
So this is definitely one of the hardest fights in low percent. Any hit from anything except 1 hit from the slime will kill him. So normally what you do in this fight is you do what he's doing there and get a bunch of spins in on the front. Oh.
I saw that
typically, you will get some spins in on the front eyeballs, and then sneak up on the side there, which you can do without taking damage from the slime, and shoot arrows from the side.
Yeah, as long as you're on the very last pixel, so you can walk up on the right there.
This is, like, even worse than it looks, because he's used a lot of arrows now. So he's going to pick up the arrow pod here, but he's still only going to have 14 going into the fight, which is really bad. Because you need 8 for the main eye.
Yeah, he may just have to fall back on some spins.
Yeah, he's going to have to do a lot more spins than normal. And this is why the estimate was so high, by the way.
Yeah, he's actually done
this can just happen. Like, if Ganon wants to, he can make it take 20 minutes. Like, Ganon is really hard in this category. Like, it's hard enough even in like the old low percent where you had 13 hearts.
It's hard enough in NMG.
Yeah. His timer turned red for like the first time ever.
Yeah. I got hit by
That's
that
actually not bad. He was ahead
Yeah.
for
This
most of the
this
run.
was a good run. I mean, the only death being that Death Mountain death. Oh, he's also saving quitting, which is right.
That's true. He saved a lot of time from doing save and quits in Light World. He's gonna fire off a few arrows there. Oh, he's gonna just use arrows. So now he's gonna have to do like spins or something on the main eye.
Yeah, I think the thought there is,
Jeez, he's playing it close there.
oh, man, ping pong with that eyeball. Hopefully he realizes arrow count. Yeah. Okay. I've been.
I'm
In
sure he
situations
does. He
before-
like hesitated before firing after 8.
I've definitely been in a situation before where I had 7 and I dry fired that last one and the eyeball just runs into me.
So he equipped the cane before killing him. Because he can't menu after killing him. So easy setup. You just place the block cane dash into the heart and it's gone. Because they make the fireballs are 4 ancilli and the dash dust is another one. So that makes 5.
Yeah, I think his thought process there is that first phase is a lot scarier than the second phase.
Yeah, definitely.
So he'll lose a little. He'll lost some time by airing there and not having
You
enough of the
definitely
second,
have
but you just,
a lot more chance to die on the first phase.
yeah, you can just kind of play ping pong with the eyeball with the sword, and it's pretty all right.
Mhm.
So now we're gonna kind of go back to where the normal like NMG route would go. So we'll be going back to Skullwoods now.
Yeah, and he'll probably be picking up some arrow pots here. Since he has 0. There's, I think, 2 you can reasonably get.
Yeah. I'm not sure the next time he's really gonna need arrows.
Probably Ice Armos. I guess he could get him in Swamp, but... Yeah, if he gets 2 pots in Swamp and then the one in Turtle Rock, that's enough. So he probably won't get any here then. So you want to be really careful here, because these do 2 hearts of damage, and
Yep.
dying on the overworld is not fun. You go back to the pyramid.
I wouldn't be
Once he's
surprised. if
inside the dungeon...
Oh right, you get Samari for this room. Oh my god, this is the best category.
Oh yeah. That was a neat strat too, he placed it sideways. I didn't know about that.
If you place it sideways, you can push it down, and that way the door doesn't open up twice.
Yeah.
A little tiny optimization there.
It looked like it saved some lag too. So he chose to take a death instead of mirroring.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to die in the overworld. Rather have the heart refill there.
I think he also, if he does the normal strat here, he's gonna take 2 hearts of damage right here.
He might choose to mirror. I don't know. But difference
mirroring
between
makes the overworld more dangerous.
2 and 1 doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he does mirror. So in normal we will fall into that pit, and that actually gives us iframes on this overworld to walk through that ropa. But I suppose that's fairly safe to slash him as well. Moth does 2 hearts of damage, and all the spikes do 1 heart of damage. So he's in 1-hit knockout range right now from Moth.
Yeah, there's a heart pot he could get. He probably will now. In the room before Moth.
Fortunately, dying in the back of Skullwoods is not that bad of a death, since we just have to go through the back half of this dungeon again.
So Mothula will be... Oh, he's getting that hard pot.
Yeah, he'll probably get both, honestly. That way he can take 1 hit on Moth.
So, as I said earlier, like, Master Sword does half as much damage as Tempered Sword in general, which means Moth will require twice as many hits.
Well, I think
if he's feeling brave, he could choose to use the hammer, which does Tempered Sword damage. But it's not easy.
Yeah, the moth hitbox is not the hitbox, but the interaction with the spikes is really weird. So if we knock Moth into the spikes actually
Yeah.
override the damage that he does, and Moth's program takes 0 damage from those spikes.
Another peculiar thing about this fight in this category is, to be safe, you want to have 3 hearts, but having beams in the fight is really bad. Moth is one of the few Dark World bosses that actually takes damage from that damage class.
That was a very good fight.
But yeah, it was a pretty clean fight.
If you use major glitches to do a low percent run, there's actually what, like 3 or 4 different ways of doing it now.
Low percent AD.
Yeah.
I think we've settled on one route now. I think. Well, not necessarily, because there's still some contention on whether tree warp should be allowed.
Yeah, it's again, this game is so there's a couple different things you can do to skip it.
Like, it's a
keep
wrong
finding
warp,
new
which is
stuff.
supposed to be banned in that rule set, but it's also in the overworld, and there's like it's precedent that anything on the overworld is allowed in that rule set. So I think there's a route with tree warp and without. Now.
Yeah, if
There
you
used to be like you could choose between getting mirror, bottle, or pearl, but we found the way to get rid of all 3 of those.
I think the answer to that question is it's pending, because we keep finding new stuff and it keeps changing.
Yeah.
But if you allow major glitches for a low percent rule set, the run starts getting really weird, because like you can skip a lot of stuff, but you have to like go around the world to be able to skip it. So
And it becomes really difficult to execute a lot of the glitches. You have to do a lot of 1-frame clips as the bunny.
Yeah, and now with this, because the heart deletion will also be required on that, you have to be able to pull off all this stuff consistently as well. So
yeah, I had a route that didn't do heart deletions, and then I think checks added heart deletions. And it's a horrible run now. Like sub 2 would be a good run, that's how horrible it is.
So a couple more overworld collection requests here.
Ganon Pod is a wrong warp. But anyway, back to the run that's happening right now. This is one of the hardest overworld screens in the game.
Yeah, the screen's annoying. Especially because you can like dash over the water sometimes, so you just really have to do the screen a bunch to learn
these
where
like
to dash.
tight dashes right at the edge of the water, but if you jump in the water by accident, you lose over a second. And sometimes, like towards the beginning, when you diagonal walk, you can just like get thrown in the water for no reason.
So again, this is a divergence from what would normally be done because of save and quit. He's just gonna go right to swamp right here.
Ordinarily, you would swim out of Zora's domain and take the whirlpool to ice.
Yeah, the whirlpool puts you right outside Ice Palace, so it's the quickest to do after flippers usually. I suppose he could still do these two in either order.
Yeah.
I think he was gonna get the hook shot here, which could be a little bit useful in Ice Palace.
It's definitely useful in Ice Palace.
It allowed him to avoid some damage he might otherwise take.
His bomb count seems kind of low. He's probably gonna pick up a couple here.
Yeah, I'm really sorry he just picks up the chest. Nope, nope.
Yeah, well, he already has to pick up arrows, so...
That's true. Yeah, he might just get both. There's 2 bombs in here that you get in POS that are relatively quick. And basically bombs from this point out, because we have the cane, they're just used for normal...
Not in a great situation here, with 1 heart. This dungeon is notorious for having a lot of enemies that don't do a lot of damage, but There's a lot of them. It's very easy to hit them and just lose time in random places.
Yeah, except we only have 3 hearts, so it's now back to being dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
There's also not a lot of places in this dungeon to get hearts.
Yeah, it's like that one pot, and then at the end.
So azder was trying to grab the wall there, which will reduce lag, but he ended up dash turning into it, which added sprites, which is not what you want. But yeah, the shield turns out to cause lag in a lot of places in this game. There's a couple of tricks we have to basically get rid of it at certain times.
Yeah.
Grabbing the wall right there is one of them.
The water lags a lot.
Yeah, I think it only saves lag there if the red skeleton is alive. So if you manage to kill him on the dash, you don't have to grab the wall there.
Sounds right. You want to kill 2 of the enemies in that room. Because like, even though like they look like they're different rooms, they're like programmatically part of the same room, so the sprites in the lower part are loaded still. This is a dungeon that gets a lot better with major glitches.
To be fair, it gets a lot better with major glitches because you basically just don't do this dungeon anymore.
Yes, because this dungeon sucks and you backtrack a lot. It's like you already had to like backtrack 3 times just to flood that water.
The way this dungeon is done in AD is just the way the dungeon should have been.
And then you have to get the big key and then walk all the way back out to get the hook shot.
Yeah, with all the backtracking, this dungeon is like twice as long as it should be. We go through some rooms like 3 times. Although I think I figured out the room we go through the most is actually the 2 first rooms in pod, and not because of all the mirroring.
It's even worse in AD.
Yeah, but this room, this central room in
was like naming rooms for AD. I had like pod lobby was like 6 times or something.
Yeah. There's a small thing here. He hook dashes to that pot, and it puts you in the glitch state. For whatever reason, that allows you to pick up the pot underneath the statue easier. You can do it normally, but like sometimes it just doesn't work. But it makes it consistent there.
Mm-hmm. I would bet he's gonna pick up every pot in the restock room.
Yeah, the 2 pots on the left have hearts. Argus is normally not very dangerous, but again with 3 hearts, he does do 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, I mean, you can get hit by him randomly.
Yeah.
You want to have a little bit of a buffer there.
So the Argus fight with Master Sword is, I would say, probably the most difficult boss.
The optimal fight is very difficult. I'm not sure if he's gonna do it. Yeah, he's just doing like spins and slashes. So if you've seen in any percent the hook dashing strat with sword out, which is really difficult, it's even harder with Master Sword because Master Sword doesn't kill the puffs in 1 hit.
Yeah, it's a really insane fight to watch.
It looks really cool when done optimally.
I think there's only 2 people who can like even do it, like even a little bit.
I think Checks did a little bit.
Checks, yeah, Checks would be. I know
FSG
like Dow,
probably
FSG,
can do it.
and Checks are probably the 3 that have any skill at it whatsoever.
Optimally, you could make that second phase faster with some fire rod shots, but he needs to have Kane out, so he doesn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do fire rod shots and then menu quickly before he dies.
Right. Yeah. It's similar in NMG. We usually menu to the mirror there, so you could do the same thing to the Kane here. But again, if you slip or mess up or whatever, then you'd have to do this whole dungeon again, and you could hear how much we were complaining about the dungeons. I don't think anyone wants to do that twice.
Alright, so we got 2 more dungeons to go before Gaines Tower. Ice won't be too different. The boss will be really scary with 3 hearts because he'll one-shot you.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's going to go for the.
And also, we have to make use of an exploit as well on this boss, which I'll mention when we get there. Oh, nice, he did the flute there.
Yeah.
That's a small optimization that sets some values correctly to make that shot like 10 frames faster or something.
I think optimally he could have done that like 3 segments ago to set that up.
Probably. I actually don't know if he even needed to do it at all because he placed a cane block in Argus, which should have set
Set it to
that
0?
altitude to 0.
Could be. You might be right.
Oh, I guess he used the flute after that, so he would have had to.
Oh yeah, he floated to 8 and then.
Yeah.
It only saves like 4 frames. It's something really small.
It saves like a very small amount of frames.
The main thing is it makes that shot very easy and very consistent to do.
You just don't have to like wait a second, like hesitate before.
Yeah, once you get used to doing it that way, you really notice when you don't have it because you just kind of forget.
Interesting. Who he's doing this from?
I'm not sure why he did it that way. You could still get. I'll have to ask him about that one. I'm not. He might have. Maybe he just placed the bomb wrong on accident.
This is one of the worst rooms in the game. Very easy to take damage, and he didn't. He was gonna do the Ice Palace bomb jump. Skips the entire puzzle dungeon.
Oh, he's gonna hookshot straight.
Just like that. Oh, he forgot to pick up the heart, which means he's gonna have to hope for a heart drop here. You got absolutely no drops. That's an incredible, incredible thing. So in order to do this fight, well, you don't technically need it, but with sword beams, it's much easier than the alternative.
Yeah, basically, if you have sword beams, you can shoot a fire rod and then beam, and it doubles up. It counts as 2 hits, and what that will do is
to fight this boss, you need to fire rod the ice shell off, which takes up your entire magic meter, but you need to have some magic left over to use the cane in order to skip the heart. Well, that's not good. I don't even think one of those is a heart. I think it spawns in arrows.
These guys should drop hearts. I think maybe he was just trying to kill the jellies.
His best bet here is getting a fairy from the pod.
Yeah, okay.
These things can drop hearts, but they like the variety prize pack, so...
Yeah, at this point,
it's unlikely.
I'm already up here. I'm just gonna fall in this spot and get a fairy.
So when you shoot the fire rod, it leaves like a lingering flame behind that can do damage. And some weirdness involved with that is what allows you to do the sword beam strats.
Yeah, it just gives you extra fire rod shots for cold stare. And the fire rod does a lot of damage on cold stare, so it makes it speeds up the fight and makes it safer.
If you do it perfectly, you only use 4 shots out of the 8 that you can spend, which
And
is what he got.
Yeah, nice.
So now he can afford to use 3 shots on the boss, and those shots can double hit as well. This is a close call there.
Yeah, so Cold Stare, a direct hit from Cold Stare is going to kill him right here. He could take 1 hit from the ice and survive.
So optimally, you can use the hammer on this boss, but it's not necessarily a good idea in this category because you need to have Kane out.
Yeah, and it's really hard to keep track of damage on each puff individually.
Yeah, if one of the puffs is exploding, you can't menu during the explosions, so like might force you to delay. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. You can miss a Kane dash.
Yeah. So the reason he pushed that block is you need all 4 of the Ancilla from the block on screen. So obviously the best place to put it is in the very center of the room.
Yeah.
So
They
just wanted to
do
make sure
stay on briefly after hitting a wall. Like they kind of like explode or whatever, and that's still occupying a slot. But yeah, in the middle you have the most time.
Yeah, you can definitely lose this run just from accidentally picking a heart, and it's happened to a bunch of people. It's you can be having the best run you have, and you just pick up a heart, and it's over because it's no longer low percent.
So one more dungeon for the end of the game before GG. We're gonna go to Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock's another dangerous dungeon. Nice flute 8 from that island. That was definitely faster. It probably was actually.
Yeah, Turtle Rock's a dangerous dungeon and a dangerous overworld because we have to deal with
Basically everything in Turtle Rock will instant kill you.
Yeah. Besides the
other than like the anti-fairies, the rollers do 3 hearts of damage, and like chain chomps, pokies, all that do 4 hearts. Trinix does 4 hearts.
Basically, the only thing that does it is the fire bars in the dark room.
Yeah, and like the anti-fairies and the red beetle.
The Helmas only do 1?
Helmas do 1, yeah.
Yeah.
He was going for the drive-through. That's epic. I hope you all enjoyed this fine display of how terrible Death Mountain is in this game.
This is another place where you're on a good run and you're basically just stepping up to the lottery machine and hoping.
Yeah. People have lost runs here in 90% going to Turtle Rock.
Honestly,
shoutouts to Blunt Bunny.
Except for the Vitreous death, like all the deaths he's taken, really wouldn't have killed his run. They've all been relatively short.
Yeah, and like dying is not killing your run in this category, just because like nobody has managed to do a deathless yet.
Yeah. Dow and azder both have 1 death in their run, as I mentioned earlier.
There's a little optimization here. If you do item dash with Quake Medallion, it puts you into the glitch super speed state, which even though he's not going to get the speed, it will make him instantly hop down. Or he's getting the speed.
No, he does get a lot of people
show off.
Yeah, doesn't go for the speed there.
The speed, you usually lose time with it just because it's so hard to control that tight movement with the speed.
Well, that and you have to walk further up onto the platform.
Yeah.
Than like the minimum place where you could get the Quake off.
Yeah.
So most people just try to get the free quick hop, which technically doesn't even save any time. It just prevents. It gives you a guaranteed first
human
frame.
error frames. Yeah.
Is what we call them. Frames that are not optimally lost, but are only lost because we're meat bags.
Alright, playing it real close with these rollers. Just gonna mirror out there. Optimal strat to escape that room involves damage boosting, which he would die instantly if he tried.
Yeah. So this is the... Actually, is it... You might be able to
It's
get back
actually
to that room.
barely slower to mirror than to walk out of that room.
Yeah. You could like hookshot back through the... But it's so much easier to mirror. You just come back and you get a free magic refill.
I think even with the damage boost, it's still only like very slightly faster.
In low percent, we fire rod these pokies because they just will not die from 2 spins.
Double spin with Tempered Sword kills them. With Master Sword, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, so in low percent, magic is... I mean, magic's already tight in NMG in this. Becomes even more so in low percent because of the... oh, and that's right, he
had a good chain chomp room. Didn't really mention that that room just likes to kill you for no reason. Even when you have like 13 hearts, you die. Doesn't matter.
And his prize pack is going to be at the correct place no matter what because of the save and quits. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, he has to. Those floating skulls do 4 hearts of damage too. Everything in this dungeon wants to kill you.
Yeah, the fact that he's down a heart honestly does not matter.
It doesn't. It's almost beneficial that he doesn't have sword beams that might hit by accident.
Well, you would want to... You're fire rodding most stuff, and then you'd want beams for a crystal roller.
Yeah, beams do make some of the strats faster, so...
It'd also save him some magic, which again is really tight. Hopefully he's going to get...
Well, I don't know. There's a magic pot in this room, yeah.
There is.
But he also missed that shot.
Yeah, he's now gonna... He doesn't have enough magic to do the... Wow, he went for that. That is...
So Mirror Shield is also skipped. We already skipped that 90% though. That's not needed. So even in vanilla, like, it's needed to get 1 chest by design, and we don't actually need it to get that chest. So
normally you'd be using Samari here to hit this switch, but he needs to save it for this next room because you absolutely need one in this next room here.
And there's no magic refill here. He would pretty much have to mirror out.
Yeah. There's a magic refill in this room, but you already need it to put.
I guess he could kill that 1 pokey and hope for a magic drop, but I don't think he got any drops on that prize pack yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen one.
Which means he wouldn't get the magic.
Yeah. There are hearts on that little platform to the right, but again, it kind of doesn't matter because everything's just going to one-shot you no matter how many hearts you have in here, so...
Yeah.
I wonder if he's in this safety door.
Safety door would be a good option. I don't think he's doing it, though.
Nope. Oh.
That's a very, very bad death to take.
Yeah. So, if you blow open, there's a exit at the bottom of a laser bridge right there. If you open that out and walk out of it and come back in, that sets your respawn point to that door. So it's a pretty decent safety strat.
Yeah. Kind of surprising he didn't go for it, but I mean, he knows this game. He doesn't necessarily need it.
Yeah, most people honestly stop thinking about that door at some point. The only reason he would even think to consider it is because of a marathon. Any sort of PB attempt, you'd never take that door.
It takes a lot of time, something like 20 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's a big time sink. But it's good for starting off, and for a marathon strat, it wouldn't be too bad. But I mean, his time right now is still really good. His estimate was 155 on this, and we're way ahead of that. So
he's at 122 right now. If everything goes smoothly, you could finish the game at like 135, maybe. No, probably more than that. Sub 140 though.
Yeah, I mean, considering the stuff that can happen in this run, he's done very well.
Oh, absolutely.
He did at least get the key though, so we can just skip laser bridge on the second trek through.
Oh, he doesn't do the cane dash.
No.
It's
Well, he
weird,
had
considering he's done a bunch of cane dashes this run already.
yeah, he had the blocks in the actually in the all dungeons position.
Oh yeah. Okay, I guess cane dashing for that block position is more difficult.
But there's not. You don't even cane dash. You just place a block and then dash.
Yeah, that's true.
Did he?
So Trinex is harder in this category. It's still not one of the harder bosses. He's gonna be really...
Oh.
I think he might have been screwed there anyway.
Yeah.
Because he needs to have magic for Kane after.
He got the poke dash though, didn't he?
I don't know. He might have had one more shot and then Kane magic left. Yeah, Trinex will instant kill if you touch him. Well, unless you like touch his foot, that only does one hard.
The foot only does one?
One or two?
I'm pretty sure it does two.
Okay.
I think the
It's
only
not
thing
four,
in that
though.
room... Yeah, it's not four. The only thing in that room that does one is the spikes.
Yeah.
And I have seen people who are in rough situations face plant into the spike to avoid a worse outcome and get some iframes off of it.
Seems like a decent idea.
Yeah, it requires you being very heads up to pull off. But there's relatively recently there was a new strat discovered on Trinex. What you can actually do is you can, if you pause after slashing Trinex's head and hold your sword out, you can actually do a poke dash into him. And for whatever reason, that causes the head to actually get re-stunned. In NMG, it's a very minor time save. It basically just saves you a magic shot. But in low percent with Master Sword, it's actually the only way to get a one cycle on Trinex. And it's very tight because it requires you to slash the head 3 times, poke dash him, slash him again, and then hammer twice. It's very difficult to pull off, but it can save you a bunch of time because those cycles take like 4 seconds each, something like that. I respect Azder's.
Respect his dedication.
He has earned this extra time from being so fast in the rest of this run, so.
Yeah, he only had like 1 death to Fiddy.
Yeah, besides the minor overworld ones, which were
2.
You know, those are just things that happen. Oh no, he's not going for the game.
Oh, that's really bad. He didn't do a 3rd shot on the firehead. I didn't see if he like got the full magic, the platform or not.
I think he did.
Because if you make the platform fast enough after picking up the pot, then it still puts you to full magic.
Oh, he killed the...
But otherwise, you will have full magic minus the cane use. I guess it's not too important here, since the rod's used twice as much as the cane. It's serious to count, because he has to menu to cane before killing him. And this is not... This is scary.
Yeah, that ice really...
Especially with the ice. So a heart container appears in the center of the room in this boss.
Very nice.
Because his head can go out of bounds when you kill him, so...
Yeah, it's really important to get over to that ice head as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's very hard with Master Sword to not get an ice spawn.
Yeah. I will continue to preach the church of Poke Dash.
I'll preach the Church of Moyai.
Yeah, here come the Moais chat.
Alright, we got one more dungeon left, Ganon's Tower. Ganon's Tower is basically the final test dungeon. You beat the game, you've got all these items, now you gotta use all the items.
Yeah, it's definitely a test in this category too.
So, Lionel's actually don't take damage from Master Sword, so for that last one you either have to hammer him or you can use hookshot iframes to avoid the fireball, and then he'll move out of the way.
Don't use the hookshot though.
Hey man.
There's a very a relatively famous clip to show you why you don't use the hookshot there.
No, it's fine, you just gotta be close to him. And not be a numpty. Hammer probably is faster, because you need it here. So, basement really isn't any different. It's not super dangerous. I guess this is different.
Yeah,
90% you use the boomerang here.
Not having the boomerang. This is one of the places we missed having the boomerang.
Yeah, one of the few. But yeah, the basement is really not dangerous. It's the climb that's the killer.
Yeah, most people will get through the basement without taking any damage. Really, those fire snakes are the one place you may like accidentally take some damage in the basement.
Oh, he won the warp by accident.
The warp that's impossible to go into. That is really rare to see. You can just kind of hold diagonal around it to get past.
Bonk over this other warp here. So it's really slow to take it. It's like 8 seconds or something.
Also has an extra bomb here though. He's probably gonna get rid of if he realizes.
Okay, the anti-fairy was not close enough to hit him there.
Yeah, we're lucky.
If you don't bomb quickly enough, that anti-fairy can be right where you want to fall down. And
yeah, there's a
you can take like 2 hearts of damage to it or something, which you really don't want when you only have 3 hearts.
This is I guess it's a glitch.
You got a red one.
JP 1.0, where if you're falling in a hole, things can still damage you.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens if that anti-fairy is over the hole, it'll drain your. It'll just keep hitting you, and it'll drain most of your magic, and we need that for the upstairs.
Alright, gotta take this room safer. Fast strat here. You take 3 hearts of damage. Obviously, we can't do that.
Yeah, there's a slightly faster strat that is heart neutral.
These 2 rooms,
but it's only neutral if you start with 1 heart less. So
yeah.
each one of them 1 hit.
These 2 rooms we call Mimics 1, Mimics 2, because we're really good at naming rooms.
Very creative people.
Those are very difficult rooms to do optimally, and like you can get hit in there pretty easily as well.
Yeah, those are rooms that once you go off script, they go very poorly very quickly. So it tends to be you either do them perfectly or it's.
Wonder if he'll take Josh Fairies. Yeah, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. This might be why he wanted to have extra. Although you got a bomb in here, so never mind.
Take any chance I get to call them Josh Fairies on stream.
The downside of getting those is we actually don't want beams for these rooms.
Yeah.
Well,
so
maybe
these rooms here are the gauntlet. We got 5 kill all enemies rooms in a row when they get progressively harder. And they are just RNG hellholes.
Yeah, they're...
Lose a ton of time in these rooms.
This This dungeon is very difficult, and there's also a significant amount of RNG in it, so getting
That
through
was a
here
sick
with good
dash.
times. Oh, is that a strat or is that just lucky hit?
I don't know.
There? This
See,
is.
here's where he's in a really bad situation.
Oh, that arrow shot. That arrow shot was very nice to get him out of Gauntlet 4.
Yeah, that was quite a snipe. He can get a hard pot after this, but he needs to be careful. That fireball does a heart of damage. Touching a land mode does a heart of damage. Well, only touching their head, I guess.
Yeah, the little rocks I think only do a half heart.
Yeah.
The half heart is basically meaningless because nothing else does a half heart, except for more rocks. Oh.
This is really stressful.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay,
Oh.
he's through.
Alright, so yeah, he took the half heart. It's not really gonna matter much. He's probably gonna get the heart here, I would assume. Yeah.
Yep. And these wizrobes up here have a decent chance of dropping hearts, so hopefully he gets some more. Nope. This game has a lovely way of never giving you drops when you need them.
I'm gonna blame that one on you, Glenn.
Sorry.
There they are. Alright.
See, like, he only went up to 2.5, but that's basically the same as 3.
Yeah.
It's actually better because he doesn't have sword beams.
Yeah. Now, the beams really aren't gonna matter.
I guess not at this point.
Yeah. In fact, he's really not gonna be slashing his.
Ooh,
He's already got the key.
Not quite fast enough.
So the glitch to not pick up the heart is considered not a major glitch. The category is no major glitches. There are other minor glitches we do in this route, like fake flippers, and although we didn't even see that this run because of his save and quit. And like hammer dashes or item dashes are all considered a minor glitch.
Bomb jumping is not even a glitch. Don't at me.
Let's not get into that discussion.
Pick up this full magic here.
Yeah.
So he's prepared for Ganon. Ganon's going to be a rather magic intensive fight, even with the lamp. Hopefully he didn't quadrant glitch there. I probably shouldn't say anything because it'll just curse it.
So 3 spins there prevents him from going into the enrage phase.
Yeah.
So it's really important to make sure you don't poke
The
him.
Light World bosses are kind of weirdly designed, and they don't take more damage from the Master Sword compared to Fighter. Armos actually takes less, but I mean, why are you hitting Armos with the sword anyway?
Because you ran out of arrows.
Yeah. Alright, Aghanim 2. Aghanim 2 is a very RNG heavy fight, just like Aghanim 1. It's kind of actually underrated.
This is definitely one of the harder fights in the game to do optimally.
Yeah.
It's kind of like another Lamo-ish type fight.
The main Aghanim has a very similar attack cycle to Aghanim 1, just without the lightning.
It's a different. It's
And
1, 2, 1.
1, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah. So the 4th one is always a guaranteed energy ball.
But the blue balls like mess you up in this fight a lot, and they can lose you just as much time as they do on Aga 1.
Yeah, it's possible to get if you get a no blue ball in the second cycle. It's possible to kill him in just 2 cycles if you hit all 3 in both of them. The other thing with this fight too is just because you hit Aga with an energy ball doesn't mean he counted it. If they hit at the same time, they won't count. So there's a lot of patterns that just you can't get a 2 cycle on. 3 is generally what we look for, considered to be good.
So normally in any run of this game, this is like the home stretch. You're basically done. This is just getting started in low percent. This fight is insanely difficult. Slashing with the Master Sword does not damage Ganon. You have to do spin attacks.
Yeah, it's...
And basically any attack he does will kill you instantly, especially since he has 2 hearts. Literally any attack that Ganon does will kill him instantly.
So it's 12 Master Sword spins for each of the first 2 phases, and then it's going to be 24 for the 3rd phase.
For the 4th.
For the 4th, yeah.
3rd phase is it's the same as 4 spins.
Yeah, this is a really good pattern for the 2nd phase because
Yeah.
you just get these double spins and hook shot out. So that's really good.
If you're FSG, you can 1 cycle on that phase, but only FSG is FSG.
It's not too difficult to 1 cycle if he's in the corner there.
Unlike Legacy low percent, you can do it with a damage boost like fairly easily, but you can't afford that here, so it's much more difficult to do it.
And everyone's favorite part of Ganon, the warps.
See, every time he moves, he has a 50% chance to just move again. And there's no cap. He can just do it as much as he wants.
Yeah, there's no cap like Aga, because Aga has the guaranteed energy balls. Assuming you don't miss. One day someone's gonna get 16. It's a pretty glorious day.
I mean, I've missed a ball like fairly recently. Not even when I was starting out. So he's gonna do torch glitch here. If you light this left torch before the right goes out, then the right one won't ever go out. That is absolutely critical to doing this phase 4 silverless. So the intended strat here is you hit him, and that freezes him and makes him vulnerable to a silver arrow. But he has 1 frame before he warps away, where he will just normally take damage. And so by using spins, we can increase that window to the duration of a spin attack, which is like 37 frames or something like that.
I'm not sure, yeah.
So just over half a second.
Yeah, it is possible to actually slash him with a tempered. But he doesn't take any damage from Master
The window
Sword
is
at all,
smaller.
so, not only are we spinning here just for the increased window size, but we have to use Master Sword. Yeah. We have to use the spin, excuse me.
So
it is possible to do this entire 2nd phase just using Fire Rods if you keep them in triples perfectly.
Yeah, he's going to use Fire Rod for a few cycles because you can get in 3 hits per torchlight that way, whereas you can't really with Lamp. I mean, you can, but it's much harder. And kind of RNG specific.
So a lot of people
probably now or the next cycle he's going back to Lamp. Yeah, next cycle.
Yeah, he should be counting. He knows how many extra shots he has.
You can do 4 lamps per Fire Rod shot, so you have like 4 times the window. At this point, he should be able to do it as long as he just keeps on rhythm. It's really the 1st and especially 2nd phases that are the killer in this fight.
There we go.
Get your GGs and nice runs in the chat.
Yeah, very nice run.
Very nice run. Like 8 minutes off his PB with those 2 deaths to Trinex, like
2 deaths to Trinex and
or 1 to Laser Bridge, 1 to Trinex, but
yeah, each of those is about 3 minutes, and the Vidi one's about 3 minutes.
So that was a very clean run.
Yeah, and then he gets the bonus time.
And like those 2 overworld deaths too.
Yeah, but yeah, he claws a lot of that back from save and quit. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, besides the deaths, like very clean run. There wasn't really a lot of panicking or anything, which is what it would look like if I did this run. Just pure panic the entire time.
The good thing is he didn't fail any hard skips. So
yeah,
not really costly.
Not missing a hard skip is probably the most impressive thing in this. Like I said, it's pretty easy just to miss, especially the early ones before Kane.
And yeah, especially the Meyer one. Oh, it was the ice one he almost missed, but he didn't save before Meyer, so it's a really good thing he didn't mess up.
Now we get to see all of the friends we made along the way, or enemies, I guess, depending on your opinion of these characters. Never even saw those people. I have no idea who they are. Alright, so I think that's about it for us then. You have any final thoughts, comments?
No.
No. But
Good run.
yeah, good run. If you're interested in running this, there's a pretty large community. There's Discord, people there are more than willing to help.
I would
I would not
recommend not running this category.
Yeah, not starting with this. Just
Yeah, I
either
agreed
rare
with
NMG
him.
or just starting with just. There's a couple partial categories you can start with that get you into it. It's a fun run. It's a good community. A lot of helpful people out there.
It's a fun run until it isn't.
We've both made tutorials for stuff, so
Yeah, except mine is less useful.
mine is not very useful.
No, yours is good. Yours is for the best category.
My pace spin is probably more useful than the video. And we do have races of this every week, which is actually coming up soon.
40 minutes.
I highly recommend everyone who wants to learn it, join those races. It's a good place to meet people. And I think what's coming up next is going to be it's Legend of the Mystical Ninja. I think that was the run that was not able to be
Wasn't that the
completed
run
right
before?
Yeah, well, they had some technical issues, so I think they're going to
Okay.
try to squeeze it back in. So for anyone who missed the end of that, I hope I'm speaking accurately, but anyone who missed the end of that or wanted to see the end of it.
Schedule says Space Megaforce, but I don't know.
Yeah, so they're
You might be right.
in. Hopefully all the technical issues are solved. But stick around for that. I think it should be a pretty good run, and I think that does it for us.
Alright. Is doing comms with you?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Alright, GG to azder again. Have a good day, everyone.